1, 2, 3, go.
Hi, we're with Eli Itin, Chief Innovation Evangelist at Amdocs in Israel. Eli, you talked today about the factors behind Russian Jewish innovation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Joe, as you remember, we looked at what historically caused so many of the latest exits of the latest startups to be headed or co-headed by Russian Jews who emigrated out of the Soviet Union. And I think without a doubt, from a historic evolutionary point of view, the anti-Semitism that Russian Jews experienced throughout their history in Russia and the former Soviet Union drove them to excel, drove them to get the best possible results in their exams, to go for the universities. There was open discrimination that kept down the number of Jews who could enter certain courses like physics at the university. And so really, if you wanted to survive and to make it, you had to be the best. And that thinking and that culture came with the immigrant families into the Western world, whether it was the US or Israel, and that's one of the reasons we see so many of these successes in the last few years.
Is innovation, you really focus on helping people innovate at the company? Is innovation something that you're born with? Is it that it's nature, or is it something that can be taught?
That's a good question, Joe. So, first of all, we define innovation in Amdocs as turning ideas into value, as opposed to creativity, which is coming out with great ideas. So we have to see value to our customers, to our shareholders throughout those ideas. And we believe that everybody is born innovative. We are all born innovative. Studies have shown that kids, until they enter schools, are highly innovative and creative. Unfortunately, the schooling system pushes them and narrows them to give the correct answers and not the really interesting creative answers. So through the various programs that we run at Amdocs, including internal incubation labs and programs that create grassroots innovation, we believe that every employee has the potential to be innovative if they're given the right conditions, the right incentives, and the right tools. And my role is to bring those tools and techniques to the company and to help both managers within Amdocs to bring innovation through their workers by learning and utilizing techniques. By the way, we do that also with our customers. So we bring these innovation techniques through what's known as ideation. We bring it to our customers and we help them define their problems as challenges and then come up with creative solutions that ultimately are turned into business recommendations to help them solve those problems.
How does, that's at one company, how does, we talk about, everybody knows now about Startup Israel and the innovation
Startup Nation.
Startup Nation, yes. And the innovation economy. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that, what you see in Israel.
So I see that we're in a tremendous period. The last 6-7 years, especially the last few years of those, there's been a gold rush in young people who want to create the next startup, who want to create the next Waze, the next Wix. There's still a slight problem of people thinking of the exit, thinking of how they can sell their company for billions of dollars to Facebook or Google or wherever it be. But we do see a change. We do see, for example, with Wix, so far they've IPO'd, they have not sold themselves to Facebook, and we see a huge rush. And really, what happens in Israel now, it's a convergence of a number of factors, and I can quickly list them off to you. It's the fact that Israel was born in a diversity, and that people had to be innovative for the country to survive. The fact that technology transfer comes out of education into the private sector, out of the army into the private sector. The fact that it's a very non-hierarchical society where everybody either knows everybody or can get in touch with everybody. And I was recently at Google campus in Tel Aviv judging a hackathon. Hackathon is when accelerators like the Atidim accelerator that I was volunteering to judge for, they have a program to help their alumni create startup. And what's really interesting is until recently you had to have come from a unit, a military cyber unit like 8200, or have come from a program or be related to a company to be able to create this startup and to be in an accelerator. What's happening now is a lot of accelerators are opening their doors to the general public, so to speak, and inviting people with ideas, even if they have no affiliation with an academic institution or a military technology unit, to come. They put them together with other people, so they'll put a technology person with a business management person, with a marketing person. They run hackathons to see which are the best ideas, and then they provide mentorship, seed capital, and matchmaking with venture capitalists who are being drawn to Israel like something I've never seen before, because everybody wants to be investing in the next ways and to be benefiting from that. Perhaps a long answer, but I hope I covered that.
That's great. Let's bring this back to the beginning. What impact do you see Russian Jews from the FSU, second generation in Israel having on innovation and around the world?
So I think from my experience in Israel, you walk through the corridors of Amdocs, you hear Russian being spoken everywhere. It's I would say there's the old joke of what's the second most common language in Israel, and the answer is Hebrew. Similar thing happening in the high-tech sector. The influx in the early 90s provided the fuel for the tech boom of the mid-90s, for the web boom of the late 90s and just before the crash of 2000, and for the application creating startup boom that we've had since the first smartphone. The iPhone came on the market. And the impact is right because they're not necessarily at the moment the founders in Israel of the companies, but they're definitely in the management teams. So there would be the CTO, the Chief Technology Office, or the Chief Engineer. You see them moving into marketing positions more and more. But what they're bringing is values of hard work, of adaptability, combining that with Israeli values of tenacity, chutzpah, if you like. Of not being afraid to fail. One of the most interesting comparisons is between Singapore, South Korea, Dubai, for example, invested heavily in incubators and technology. None of them were able to succeed in the way that Israel succeeded. Tel Aviv is now the second best place in the world to create a startup. And the main reason for that, the main difference between Israel and Singapore, Korea, and the reason that all these countries come to here is that we are not afraid to fail. In an Asian society, if you fail with your startup, then it's loss of face to your friends, to your family. If an Israeli young guy, a lot of these guys are Generation Y guys, born between 81 and 95, and they're creating these new companies. If they fail, no problem. They're happy to fail sometimes because statistics show that those who fail in their first startup have a 20% chance of succeeding in their next startup. So lack of fear, I think it's huge. Combine that with Russian know-how and emphasis on excellence in education, and you have a winning formula for success.
Well, thank you very much. Very interesting. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John. My pleasure.
כן, עכשיו תמשיכו לדבר קצת, שאני אקח אותך כאילו לעשות השלמות כאלה. תמשיך.
Okay. So feel free to ask me anything you want. It doesn't have to be related to...
No, it's great stuff. Everybody's always looking. You talk about the next startup, and people always obviously looking for the next big one. Do you see? Are there any sectors you really see that are hot right now?
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the trends we're seeing that's going to explode, already exploding. First of all, is big data. You have Dr. Kira Verdinsky,